Hey guys, it's been a while. Today I want to share a story that's different from my usual content. This isn't just any story. It's about the last full-time job I had and the lasting impact it had on my life. Before we dive in, I want to update you on something. I'll be testing a new video schedule. These videos will air on Tuesdays and Thursdays, opposite my other channel, which currently runs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But with that out of the way, let's get into today's story. To understand why this job affected me so deeply, you first need to understand what it entailed. I worked at a call center, a third-party support line for a military bank. Some days, the calls were manageable. Other days, they were filled with anger, yelling, and cursing, usually over mistakes customers had made themselves, but now somehow became my fault. I have immense respect for those who serve our country, but my time in this role made me see a different side to that world, and it changed my perspective, not for the better. My job was straightforward: process credit card payments and troubleshoot account issues. But after a year, I also moved into the deposit services role, where I handled checking and savings accounts, CDs, and anything banking. This came with greater challenges, but it was necessary to transition from phone calls to chat support. The pay was low, but it was full-time, something my previous job wouldn't offer. I had hopes of turning this into a long-term, stable career with opportunities to advance, but I wouldn't make it past 3 years. Training lasted 5 weeks, followed by a nesting period where we answered calls with assistants. Then, I was assigned to a team lead. My trainer warned me that I had drawn the short straw in this occasion. The story of my life, to be honest. I had the worst TL in the building. Perfect, I thought. What a bad omen of what was to come. This TL never submitted my time off requests and gave dismissive responses to my questions. He made every day miserable. Eventually, a new TL took over, and I transferred to his team, which briefly gave me some hope. However, he had his own issues. He insisted on listening to live calls over your shoulder, making it kind of uneasy, and had this habit of pushing accountability in ways that felt more like scolding than a coaching. The most infuriating thing was his obsession with overtime. He constantly pushed for the highest OT numbers to make himself look good, but never actually put in extra hours himself. I value my free time and refused to sacrifice it for a job that I hated. One day, he even sent the credit card department lead to pressure me into signing up for overtime. I, of course, just to get him to leave me alone, agreed to it, but only to delete it the moment they walked away. I'm not doing overtime. Not here, not ever. So stop asking is how I feel about it. The company itself kind of plays mind games. I had set a 3-year goal. If I wasn't promoted by then, I'd move on. When a TL position opened, I obviously applied and thought I nailed the interview. When I was rejected, I, of course, asked for some feedback and was told that I had just done an amazing job and would make a great TL one day. Then I heard the rumors that the position was given to someone out of pity. They had cancer and needed insurance. When they were hired, they initially declined the insurance. So now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So the company bails them out. I was angry, then ashamed of myself for being angry. That's kind of when the depression hit. Around that time, my mom got a job at the same company. She worked early mornings while I worked late afternoons. This meant I had to wake up, drive her to work, and go back to bed, then wake up again for my shift. She didn't have a car, so I felt responsible for taking her. It drained me. To escape that cycle, I switched to the overnight team. Probably my biggest mistake, so she could use my car during the day, and I could take it when I needed it at night. When another TL spot opened, I was determined to get this job. But I have to give you a little bit of context. You had to rely on your TLs to submit applications for you. They did not provide you the login credentials to do this. So that is something that was entirely out of my control. By then, I was the reason his team had gone from last place to first place in metrics. I earned him a lot of performance bonuses. He didn't want to lose that, so he never submitted my application. When I found out, man, I was pretty bummed. Pretty much how I found out was a TL that had a lot of respect for me, and she thought I would make a great TL. When I was leaving one day, she called me over to her desk. I went over there, and she yelled at me for not applying. And I said, "What? I did apply." And she's like, "No, you didn't." I'm like, "I told David I wanted this job, and I applied. I told him to apply." That's kind of how I found out that I didn't. I wasn't even considered because he'd never put my name in the hat. And I was pretty pissed. That's when a lot of things changed for me. My depression deepened for sure. On my days off, I stopped getting out of bed, didn't care anymore, didn't want to live anymore. As the suicidal thoughts crept in, no matter how well I performed, I kind of realized I would never be promoted. And this is a common occurrence in my jobs. I have a great work ethic, right? I do the best job humanly possible, regardless of the pay. And I do it because I want to advance in companies. I don't want to be just the low-level grunt my whole life. But it has never worked for me for whatever reason. So this makes me feel trapped that I would have been a frontline service worker forever. Then, once the depression wears, the anxiety attacks begin. They were severe to start. I'd throw up all day, barely sleep, still go to work 5 days a week. It was weird. I'd throw up so much I'd start throwing up blood, like little specks of blood, because it was so bad. It became a kind of a vicious cycle. Depression feeding anxiety, and anxiety feeding depression. It was probably this was hands down the worst time of my life. I've been homeless. I've seen my father die. You know, this right here was the worst time of my life, just putting it into context. When I started this job, I weighed 250 pounds. I was a chunky boy, I'm not gonna lie. 250 is pretty big for 5'10". But by the time I left, I was, I'm gonna be ashamed to admit this, 560 pounds. Since leaving, I've managed to get it down to 440, but I'm stuck. I'm hard plateaued at 440. The anxiety attacks still persist, sometimes even while recording these videos. So if you ever hear me sound like out of breath, that's my anxiety kicking in. And I fear that this is something I'll deal with for the rest of my life. And it sucks. It sucks even reading, because it just reminds me, like, if I never took this job, yeah, I'd be way worse off. But mentally, I'd be in a great place, because before I went there, man, mentally, I was mentally strong. I was happy. I had depression, of course. Everybody suffers through depression. But I would have been, I was super, super happy with life. And, now it's just like today, I wasn't even gonna get out of bed today. I was just gonna be like, fuck it. But I had to record this video so I could release it tomorrow. So that was the only reason why I agreed to get out of bed today, was to record this video. Moving on, as for the depression, I've battled it for as long as I can remember. I've never really been much of a happy person, for the reasons of being homeless, like I said just a few minutes ago, and watching my father die in front of me. Now, to give a little bit of context there, I was 11 years old. We were homeless. I was sleeping. It was 6:37 in the morning. Always remember that. I heard my mom scream, shot up out of bed, and she said, "Hey, something's wrong with your father. Go get help." And as being in a homeless shelter, you're just in a bedroom, right? No phone, nothing. So yeah, I had to run down like 4 or 5 floors of stairs. I can't remember that. Went down there, had him call the ambulance, and that was the day my life changed the most. I've never dealt with death before. He was legitimately the first death in the family I'd had since I've been alive, that I could remember anyways. So he never taught me a whole lot of things. He never taught me how to be a man. He never taught me simple things that I should know growing up. So I've always slightly struggled in that aspect. That was the day innocence died for me too, like I didn't know what death was. I knew you could die, but I didn't know what it was. But something about that job made it worse than it had ever been for me. Like, you would think that would be the worst, darkest moment of your life. And for a lot of it, most of it was. But the job was just so awful. You can't even put it into words how awful that job was. It was just the constant nagging. No matter what you did right, they pointed out 12 things you did wrong. If you did everything right, then they pointed out the smallest infractions that they can get you. And it was just a constant downing yourself, downing. They would sit there. They never gave you positive reinforcement. It was always negative reinforcement. And I couldn't believe that I actually wanted that job to be a career, because looking back on it, it was the most toxic workplace I'd ever worked. It made me feel like a failure for sure. That job gave me a failure complex. And then until I find success, I don't know if that feeling will ever go away. I now look at, it's weird, now I look at life as a pass or fail, right? Right now I'm failing, miserably failing. But every job rejection now feels like a proof of that failure for me. This is also why I disappear and return so often on YouTube. It's not because I want to leave you guys. It really isn't. It's a mixture of depression, then anxiety, then my failure complex hits in and go, oh, well, my views from this week is down from that week, and those views are down from that week too. So now I'm failing at making content. So now I'm just being an utter failure. So I never look at the positives in anything. And you can ask any of my friends, that is a complete fault of mine that I should work on. But I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know what to do. I have this failure complex, that nothing I do will ever be good enough for anyone, which sucks because I don't want to think that way, but I do. This is also why my uploads are inconsistent. As you'll see, sometimes I'll say, hey, I'm quitting forever, and then I come back, and then I'll say, hey, I'm quitting forever, and then I come back. It isn't because I'm a nut job. Well, sorta. But it's the failure complex, man. It's why I also keep trying different things. I know a lot of you guys are sub to me because of my work stories. I officially ran out, and not only that, the reason why those stopped, and I'm going to give you a reason in another video, sort of, maybe. Actually, no, let's just do it in this video. The reason why those videos stopped is I pretty much did all my workplaces. But also, when you talk bad about a workplace, people tend to white knight for that workplace, even if they've never worked for them or ever heard for them. So the constant just comments of kill yourself and shit that I deleted because, nobody needs to be that negative on a channel. It just kind of got to me. And I understand y'all love that content, and I'm glad that you guys do. But you have to remember, my security job threatened to sue me. I had other employers essentially threaten to sue me, or said or thought about suing me. I don't have the money for a lawyer. I can't even find a fucking job. So I can't even, so if somebody sued me, I'd be fucked. I'd be representing myself and I knew nothing about law, because I can't afford an attorney, and they don't provide court-appointed attorneys in civil matters. So essentially I'd just be doing my own thing. So it stopped for a multitude of reasons, but my depression is mainly the main cause for it, because when you start rehashing some of these negative experiences, man, it does take a toll on your mental well-being. But moving on, I'm searching for something positive to to hold on to, but failure always seems to win for me, man. And that's the video today, guys. It's more rambling than I wanted it to be. I had a script. I stuck to it for the most part, but I want you all to know, like, you know, I'm not looking for pity out of this. I just want you to understand me, right? It's understanding, not pity. Do not give me pity. I want you all to understand why I come and go and why I seem so drastic and spastic and different every time. But as of right now, I'm going to go to my outro. If you guys made it this far into the video, I appreciate you. I truly do. Please leave a comment with the word change. The reason why I want the word change is because I'm looking for change in the better of my life. Also, I just want you guys to comment the word change because it also does help me know that you watched the entire video, and it will help me in my engagement and my metrics for YouTube. So I will appreciate you. If you are not subscribed, but you enjoy my content, and right now I'm in a content loop, so I have no clue what I want to do. I would appreciate your support by hitting that subscribe button. Please and thank you. I do fully appreciate every one of you. A like would also mean the world to me right now. It just kind of points me in the right direction. Anytime people like and comment good things, I know I'm heading in the right direction. So that's why I'm using these as big metrics for what you guys want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I will see you all in the next video as well. And just remember, right now, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm also debating on deleting the other channel. It's just not getting any pushes in the YouTube algorithm. So I'll be bringing over content there, but that doesn't mean it'll be the only content I do here. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Just help me out. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm kind of lost right now, so thank you. And I'll see you in the next one.